Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office Show. Happy Monday. Happy Cinco de Mayo. We've got a lot going on today. Playoff updates, unfortunate injuries hitting teams already. Lots of stuff to dive into. I'm Trevor Lane. Make sure you do subscribe right here to the NBA Front Office Show on YouTube. Also follow us over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Of course, my guy Keith Smith here. Keith, are you celebrating Cinco de Mayo today?
I'm not. So 15 years ago today, we were headed to the hospital for the birth of our daughter. So she turns 15 tomorrow. Big day. Going to get the permit tomorrow. And yeah. A little
Are you nervous?
But yeah, a little bit. Also, I'm feeling extra old too, so that doesn't help either. But
you know what helps with that?
What's that?
Margaritas.
Yeah. I figure you're probably fired up. You do enjoy yourself a margarita and some Mexican food. So.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean I hear that pairs well with playoff games, so why not?
It
right?
Does.
Might as well. So yeah, man. But it was weird when you get into the point of the first round, especially. You feel this after like all these weekends with 8 games, then you get to that third weekend and it's like 1 game and 2 games. It's like, What am I supposed to do all day?
Right?
Like, am I supposed to like hang out with my family and do
like? Do I have to talk to people? Come on.
Yeah, come on. I want 4 games each day, but it kind of is what it is with that. But yeah, first round's in the books. I know we only differed on 2 series. As fate will have it, they both went my way.
They
Nuggets
did
in 7 and Warriors in 7. But we it was. Playoff first round kind of, I think, played out more or less how we expected. We both did pick long series. Even you just went the other way with the other teams. That's all. We were there, series length. So yeah, about when I think as we expected it to. But we'll see now. It's that Warrior. It was funny. I said this. We got that Cavs Pacers game yesterday in the afternoon, and it was really good, up tempo.
Sure.
Then we got that Warriors Rockets game. It was like we feel like we stepped back in a time machine, back into the 90s, early 2000s, because
nobody could score.
That game was gross for a while. It was like, this is not good basketball. Like, this is bad.
That was a frustrating game to watch. I mean, so many little bunnies just missed, shot opportunity after shot opportunity, just missed and missed and missed. I'm like, oh my God. I watching that game, I went, the Rockets are trading for Kevin Durant. Like they have to. They've got to get somebody that can score the ball in the half court. Yeah. But
I'm with you.
All right, let's jump over into because we're going to talk about the Rockets in just a minute.
Yep.
In one of our topics here, so we can kind of break that down as we go. But let's jump into our second round predictions here.
Yeah,
we did get into that.
We did already, and I don't remember what we said with Cavs Pacers. I know we both took the Cavs. So we're not going to try to cheat anybody on that and say, like,
are you wavering on that now with their injuries? We're going to talk about their injuries in a minute.
I am a little bit, because those are not okay. So maybe we'll do that and then come back to the other series. We'll jump there. So Cavs major injuries. So we know Darius Garland's out with the toe injury. Now, there was some good news yesterday, I guess, that was Jared Greenberg reported that they said, he probably is going to try to play in game 2, which will be played on Tuesday. So that's really important for Cleveland. But then news came out today at practice. And keep in mind, these are like practice, like I'm putting that in quotes, because it's they're really more of a light walkthrough on this one day off in between games. That what was it? DeAndre Hunter has a dislocated right thumb, which is not good. And then Evan Mobley tweaked his ankle. But what's more worrisome is Kenny Atkinson said they're serious doubt if those guys are going to play in the next game and what it'll look like for the rest of the series. And that has me worried for the Cavs.
Yeah, that's this is what happened to them last year. They just got hit by injury after injury after injury in the postseason, to where they had hardly anybody left by their end of their playoff run. Yep. And that's what's happening again here. It's just one injury after another. And if they're the Pacers have been great. This won't be last year. The Pacers completely fell backwards into Eastern Conference Finals berth. This year they're playing well. They are playing quality basketball this year.
Sure.
But man, if we don't get Celtics Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals because the Cavs are just brutally injured, that, I mean, we've been building towards this all year. What a letdown that would be.
Yeah. I mean, after the Cavs came out and won like every game to start the season, it was like, all right, they're here. They're, what was it that Terry Hatcher said? They're real. They're spectacular. In Seinfeld that time. But here's the worrisome thing if you're the Cavs. So I just pulled this up because I wanted to make sure I had it. Jarrett Allen played in all 82 games. That's a whole thing, right? He's got a streak going. He never misses games. But Mitchell, 71 games. Mobley, 71 games. Garland, 75 games. Then the rest of their guys were in the ranges of, 50-ish games. Hunter obviously came over. Jerome and Merrill played 70 and 71 games. Here's the other important stat with that. Donovan Mitchell led the Cavs in minutes played per game. Do you know how many? If you had to guess.
34.
31.4.
Man, it's low. I thought I was going low with 34.
Right? Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley were the only Cavs to average over 30 minutes per game in the regular season. And Garland and Mitchell were under 31. They were at 30.7 and 30.5 respectively. So they did not push overly hard. Now, they didn't need to. They blew everybody out in the first kind of like 2/3 of the season. And then in the final third of the season, they piled up some losses, but they built such a massive lead over Boston that they didn't really need to play it all the way out. So they were just kind of, going through the motions. So while this wasn't the extreme load management, playing guys, 50-ish games and all that stuff, they came in, should have been relatively rested and healthy. And then Garland picked up that toe injury in the first round, and now Mobley, and that just goes to show there's no perfect way to manage this. You can, do everything you can to try to keep guys healthy. And if things happen. And it kind of is what it is. And that's really disappointing.
Right now, it certainly is. It's disappointing. It's unfortunate. It's frustrating, certainly for Cavs fans. Not today, because it wouldn't be appropriate, but just given how close to this all is. But sometime in July, in August, something like that, Adam Silver's going to point to this and go, see,
yeah,
cutting down minutes, load management, all that stuff. It doesn't work. You might as well play your guys. Yep. We need our stars playing. It doesn't change it. Look what happened with the Clippers for years. They would load manage guys, never really worked. It's just another piece of evidence for Adam Silver's side, which is the contention that, and obviously he should have this contention, but that load management does not work. He's going to point to this and go, see, look, the Cavs didn't play major minutes. They happened to get hurt at the wrong time. Didn't save them at all. And there's a point to it.
There's a point to it. And then on the flip side, you have like Tibbs teams over the years where it's play guys a million minutes and they break down every year in the springtime. Like I just think there's no perfect answer here. And I don't even, there's no perfect answer for this. It is probably player by player. It's what does that individual player need and what can they go to? And in basketball, not that other sports aren't this way, but basketball, because of the running and jumping component in the sport, and obviously football and hockey have the hitting component.
Sure.
But basketball is you can be healthy the whole way through, jump up to get a rebound and come down and land on somebody's foot, and your playoff series is over. And
season.
That's it, right? You could, like Jarrett Allen, we just said, play all 82 games, and if he steps the wrong way, that could be it. Season could be over. Like it is really tough. But so just to get it in the books, I put mine on Twitter yesterday and Blue Sky. And I said Cavs in 6, and I'm going to stick with that because that's what I said
did as well.
So that's where you're at as well.
I believe that's what I said as well. Okay. Now though, with all these injuries, I would change it, but that was where I was at before the series. So we'll just stick with.
So we'll be honorable and we'll stick with what we picked. But yeah, let's see what these injuries are. If these guys are actually going to be out, it might be Indiana in like 5.
It could be.
If these guys can't come. And that's, I didn't feel great about Cavs in 6, even in general, just because I felt like that was short.
Indy's been playing well.
But its Cavs are so good. Like that was kind of part of my thing there. So that's the tough part.
Now all the pressure is on Cleveland to win game 2 because now it's the, oh my God, did we just ruin our great season? This has been a great season for Cleveland. Now there's so much pressure on Cleveland to win game 2 because that fear that is got to be creeping in a little bit of, did all these injuries just undo our season again? You know what I mean? Like so we'll see what they do in game 2. I just brought this up on cleaning the glass here just because I want to point this out. You mentioned Tibbs. His starting lineup over the course of the season, his starting 5 with Bridges, Anunoby, Towns, Hart, and Brunson, they played almost 1,900 possessions. Contrast that to the Cavs. The Cavs starting lineup with Garland, Mitchell, Strus, Mobley, and Allen. Now Strus, was hurt and everything, but still 523 possessions over the course of the regular season.
I mean, even go ahead and scroll it all the way back up to the top. The other way. There you go. They played 500 more almost 500 more possessions than the Timberwolves.
And the Wolves played 400 more possessions than Detroit, the team right below them.
And then by the time you get to Houston in third, it's over double. So yeah, I mean that's a lot of stuff there. Now some of these teams, they had a lot more blowouts than the Knicks did. The Knicks didn't win a ton of blowout games. They were always playing in kind of close games. But it just goes to look at Denver, and then Indiana's 2 most used lineups are like plus 12, plus 13. Like that leads to blowouts. So very very interesting. Just to kind of look at it that way. Because whether you do by possessions, minutes played, whatever it is, the Knicks are gonna blow everybody out of the water.
Right. Okay. We need to do our West second round predictions as well here. Because we already did
we forgot the other East series.
Well, didn't we do that one the other day? Or am I misremembering?
I said Boston, and we may have. I just didn't write them down. So I said Boston in 5. That's
and I said the same.
With. Okay.
All right.
Boy, this is wonderful for competition here.
Right. well, let's see how things go. I have a feeling we're going to be in lockstep on one of the series in the West, though.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's go with the one that's fresh in mind. Let's go Warriors and Wolves.
Okay. All right.
And I've got the Wolves taking this one. I was really impressed with what they did against my Lakers. They were fantastic. The size, the physicality, I think is an issue. Now, the Warriors, if they get hot from 3, if they get Buddy Hield suddenly being unconscious from 3, maybe that changes things. If Jimmy Butler averages 15 free throws a game or something absurd like that, obviously that changes things. He has become the premier foul grifter in the NBA. When you watch Jimmy Butler out there, he has a way, and now most of it's off pump fakes. It's not like the same kind of shenanigans, but he has a way to get to the free throw line. They have a real shot here, the Warriors do. But I'm gonna go Wolves, and I'm gonna say we get another 7-game series. I'm gonna say the Wolves don't get it done this time in 7.
All right, so Minnesota in 7. It's good. Good reminder for everybody, because this is weird because it's a 6 seed versus 7 seed. Minnesota does have home court advantage, even though they're the 6 seed. So good choice there. I am very reluctant to pick against Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr, kind of the infrastructure of the Warriors. I'm reluctant to pick against them in a short series just because they are just what they've done, like in who they are as a group. That said, this series against the Rockets took a lot out of them, and they get one day off, and that one day is mostly travel. Now they're not traveling that far, right? They're going from Houston to Minnesota. So it's not like they went all the way back to Golden State or to the Bay Area and then back over. So that is at least a little bit of a win for them. But man, I think game 1 might be one of those major blowout games. I'll just step on it here. I think that's going to be the same thing in Thunder Nuggets, just because it's just, they might be like, hey, we just don't have it. And that could be a like pull the plug early game for both the Warriors and Nuggets too, where it's like, we don't have it today. Let's, save the legs. I'm going to pick Minnesota too. I'm going to go with, just because the Warriors didn't look unbeatable at home, I'm going to go with Minnesota in 6. I don't generally like to pick a team to close it out on the road, but yeah, I'm going to go Minnesota in 6.
I think the big question for a minute is if Julius Randle can avoid turning back into a pumpkin, they'll be in good shape. If his shooting percentage regresses and goes back to his normal,
yep,
that's where suddenly it gets a lot closer. That'll be a big key to watch here in this series.
Yeah, I completely agree. They need him to be big on both ends, right? Because he
Yeah.
played pretty good defense too against LeBron, who's not an easy guy to guard. And he made LeBron work quite a bit. And Jimmy Butler's a different matchup for him. Because you're going to have to put Rudy Gobert on Draymond Green. Like
Yep.
that's just your matchup there. And Rudy Gobert won't play anywhere near Draymond Green when he's out by the arc. It'll be you want to shoot 3-pointers, have at it. And if we lose because you make a bunch of threes, we're going to tip our cap and say do it again tomorrow. It's just not going to. They're just not going to believe it. So yeah, it is going to be very interesting to watch that.
How has Draymond not been ejected?
Yeah,
you saw what he did to Fred. He karate chopped Fred VanVleet's neck.
And why are you kicking your leg out
doing
there too? Like that's not a normal reaction to getting stripped of the ball. Even if I completely agree with the foul call, like I do think VanVleet fouled him, but that's just not how your body would ever react to that unless you're completely flailing. The running commentary right now is because we know how he feels about Rudy Gobert. How long is it going to take him to get tossed? He is, I believe, he's 1 flagrant 2 or like 2 flagrant 1s away from triggering another suspension, like triggering the flagrant point suspension. So my guess is we see him get tossed in at least one game in this series. And they're just, no player. I mean, I've already said this on the show, so I'm just now repeating myself, but no player in the league gets away with the stuff he does once he already has a technical.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it's outrageous the way, refs let him scream and yell at them, but we can move on. Let's move on to the Thunder Nuggets,
let's
which
go
sounds like an amazing meal you would buy at like
Thunder Nuggets.
Like Coors McDonald's or something.
Yeah, right. There's got to be there's a better pun in there somewhere. I don't know. Thunder King for Burger King. I don't know. There's got to be something.
McLokey's.
McLokey's. Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I'm struggling with that one. Let's move on.
We'll come. It'll come to us.
Somebody put a better one in the comments.
Yeah. Okay. So OKC and Denver. You know what? Look, it's kind of like the Warriors series, Warriors and Wolves for me, in that it feels bad to pick against Jokic. Just like it feels bad to pick against Steph, it feels bad to pick against Jokic. Yep. I was impressed that Denver's defense stepped up to the degree they did. That was why I picked against them in round 1, was because I didn't think Denver's defense could step up the way that they did, and they got enough stops in that series to get the win, as well as the Clippers. My God, what an awful implosion there in Game 7. But
we're there again with James Harden, right? Like this is
right back where we were.
Now just the thing. We won't run through all of them because Lord knows by the time you've listened to this or watched this show, a number of different places have run through it. But another failure in a Game 7 by James Harden. It's a trend now.
It really is.
I want to go back to one other thing with Rockets Warriors, just because I don't know, outside of maybe Celtics and Lakers, if any fan base hates another team more than maybe Rockets fans with Warriors right now.
Oh, for sure.
Like this is, I mean, we are like, we've got a decade of history now of like them eliminating them in heartbreaking fashion in the playoffs. And that's like that. We always say familiarity, breeds contempt. Yeah, but losing to the team over and over and over again is why, they hate each other. I was talking to a friend of mine. He actually lives in, or he doesn't live in Texas, but he grew up in Texas. And and he goes, I grew up as a huge Rockets fan, and my dad his dad is a massive Lakers fan. And he goes, now I fully understand when he's like, I hate the Celtics because my entire life as a kid in the 50s and early, like we couldn't beat them. Like we could not beat them. He goes, and I was always like, yeah, that seems like you're very overrating it. He goes, now I get it, because he's a big Rockets fan. He's like, I hate the Warriors with every passion, every bit of passion I have in my body.
Oh, sure. It's like Kings fans to this day hate the Lakers. At this point, Lakers fans are like, whatever. But that's because the Lakers never lost to them, and that in like just losing them, that it breeds that kind of anger and resentment. Anyway, though, I'm not going to pick against OKC. I'm all in on them. I'm buying what happened during the regular season. Their net rating being historic, what they do defensively. I do think Jokic poses some matchup problems, but he does that with everybody. I think looking at the rest of the roster, OKC is just better in a lot of ways. And so I'm going to go, just out of respect to Jokic, I'm going to go Thunder in 6.
All right. I'm going Thunder in 5.
Okay.
I guess so
you're less respectful to Jokic than I am.
Yeah, I don't feel, I like you. Same thing. I don't feel great about it. It's Jokic, it's Murray. Here's my worry is I think this is 5 games of Jokic putting up incredible stats, and then you're super bright right now.
Whoa, what happened?
I don't know. It was all that Thor and Loki talk.
I guess it's like lightning or something going on, man.
Shining upon you.
I do wonder. I've had my camera on for a while here. I wonder if it's overheating. Here, let me switch to I'll switch to my other camera.
Okay. All right. I'll keep. Do you want me to keep?
You keep going. I'll be right back.
I'll keep going. All right. So here's my worry: Jokic 5-game series, incredible stats from Jokic. That's my thing. I think we see. And then I think we get to a place where they just don't have enough else. I worry about the Nuggets getting Jamal Murray freed up. The Thunder can put so many different guys on him. They'll probably start games with Lou Dort on him. Then they'll go to Alex Caruso, Casey Wallace. They'll have maybe Aaron Wiggins check him some. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't generally defend the other team's best guard because they like him in a helper position, but they could throw him on him, and that's just going to make it tough. And it just then who, right? Is Michael Porter Jr. going to be consistently good? Is Aaron Gordon going to knock down enough shots? I mean, now maybe we should start to believe it more because he just hasn't missed all season. But what is that going to look like? I am that's why I'm picking the Thunder in 5. This is just how much I believe in this Thunder team. I think they are really, really good. The way Denver wins this series is you selectively run when you can, but you try to muck it up, play it a little slower, play it a little uglier, but try to do everything you can to run that Jokic Murray 2-man game as much as you can. The Thunder though, they'll just play all kinds of different lineups. They'll go small if they need to. They'll play Chet and play 5 out, with him at the 5 and all kinds of stuff. It's just this Thunder team's really, really good.
They are. They're very good, very talented. Are you worried at all about rust? I know we talked about the quick turnaround for Denver.
Yeah. This is rust versus rest, right? To the extreme, because Denver's walking into this game after playing. Now, they didn't have to push overly hard in that game 7 because of the blowout nature of it over the Clippers, but still, you did have to travel. After it, you did have to play 7 games, and the Thundermen. But we said it jokingly before the show. It's I don't feel like they've played since March.
Right,
we haven't seen them in forever. And it's kind of in a lot of ways. It's been a while since they played a really big game. Because I know the Grizzlies challenged them in a couple games, but they swept them. So, that could be. I'm very curious to watch that one tonight. That should be fun.
All right, let's move on here. We'll go to, and I'm excited for that series as well. Let's go to some off-season maneuvers here. The Magic. This makes so much sense to me. Anthony Simons, because here's the thing with Orlando. It's not just that they need shooting. They also need some shot creation. And so the way I look at this is you're kind of checking 2 boxes here. If you target a guy like Anthony Simons, now making the math work and how you get him, maybe that's something we can look at. But as far as a target for the Orlando Magic, I like Anthony Simons as a target, and he's from the Orlando area too. So you've got the kind of it's not that that's everything, but it's like the little cherry on top. So I think this would make a lot of sense as a target for Orlando to go after Anthony Simons from the Blazers.
Yeah, and we're not talking about trading for a $40 million player here.
Right.
I think next year he's at $27 million. So that's a pretty easy number to get to if you're the Magic. It's going to cost you a couple rotation guys. But this is part of what Jeff Weltman in his end of season media availability, that's the president of basketball ops for the Magic, functionally their general manager. He said, we're in the win now phase. We have the guys, we need to go out. Before we were waiting, we were kind of let's wait and see. Let's see what it builds up to. And he's like, now we're in the win now phase. We need to start adding guys that can really push this forward and, get us there. And he basically came out and also said, it's no secret, which he's not. It's not. These guys act like they're protecting the nuclear codes with strategy stuff. You are in a position with the Magic where he's like, we need offense. Like, okay, cool. Like, I actually appreciate
this
when
is
they
the team that wrote their targets on the whiteboard behind, and they took a picture
under a different front office. But
very different front office, of course. But it's that organization, so I understand why they would be a little bit careful there.
A little more. But I do like when they at least admit, like, hey, we see it too, right? Like we're a bad offensive team. So now I'm glad you pulled the Magic salary sheet up. So you're kind of taught, right? If you went with, just off the top of my head, Jonathan Isaac, Cole Anthony, and a draft pick, does that get you Simons? Maybe, right? Could you do that if you're the Magic? You probably have enough depth to pull that off. You have Mo Wagner coming back at some point next year. You still got Batadze, so you're kind of covered up front with that. And then depth wise, Simons replaces Anthony, and there you go. Like now you've got a much better player. I think. I don't know where you go with Caldwell Pope, Simons, and Suggs, but that's a backcourt trio. I'll figure it out, right? Like whoever starts, whoever doesn't. It's
those
not
three.
The world.
Just circle it. Yeah, I mean, and I think either like
30 minutes. So.
KCP and Simons works. Suggs and Simons works. I mean, I think there's ways that you can.
Obviously worked. So
yeah.
You as long as everybody's playing their 30 plus minutes and out there, and you could even do against the right teams. I think you could close with Banchero, Franz Wagner, Caldwell Pope, Simons, and Suggs. If the other team was small enough, I think you could close with that group. So this one it's probably one of those though where it makes almost too much sense, so it probably won't happen. But every once in a while they come together like that, and this is one that I think for the Magic and for Simons, this makes a lot of sense. It makes sense for the Blazers too. If you can get an asset for a guy who probably isn't a big part of your future after one more year, and you've already got Shaden Sharp, you have Scoot Henderson, let's kind of go in that direction a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe you're right. Maybe it makes too much sense to work. God, Keith, this is driving me crazy. I'm so used to looking up at my normal camera and not right here at this camera. I'm talking up and up like over everybody. Anyway.
Camera two. Camera one.
It tells you I spent way too much time on it shows you on the Lakers Nation ideal offseason video I put together. I spent way too much time on to the point where my camera overheated.
When Trevor puts that out, guys, that's like a 32-hour long extravaganza with no breaks.
No, the problem is it's only like 30 minutes long, but I spent so much time going through all the different trade machine possibilities and things like that my day just got away from me. All right. Let's jump over. Exactly. Endless hours of entertainment. Will Hardy gets an extension with the Utah Jazz. He did caution that, look, the losing sucks. It's not fun, but we believe it's going to pay off. This is something that's going to be I believe the phrase he uses, it's going to be worthwhile. So we'll see where this ultimately goes in Utah, but clearly they're building something here for the future. And obviously, the draft lottery, Keith, a week away now, they're going to be, Utah's going to be keeping a very close eye on that night. A lot of their future may be determined by those ping pong balls.
Yeah. So to that point on the draft lottery, May 12th, a week from today, I believe it's at 7 p.m. Eastern, because now that we know what the games are, it'll be Celtics Knicks at 7:30, Wolves Warriors at 10, and it usually is right in that half hour leading into a game. So so that'll be fun. With the Will Hardy extension, I think this is very well earned. The last 2 years prior to this season, Will Hardy had them competing for a spot in the play-in tournament. They were right there until they pulled the plug and said no. Like this is not what we want to do. They made some trades. They started sitting guys, and they bottomed out and went into the draft. This season, they came in and were basically, we're not even doing that. Like we're not even messing around this year. Cooper Flagg's on the board. Let's go. And they basically played it out, that way all year. Guys regularly sat out. They can't. Did they get fined? If they didn't, they at least got a warning from the league about sitting Markkanen when maybe they shouldn't have. And that kind of went away after a couple more games. Same with Phillies and sitting guys, because I think the league's like, all right, once you're kind of way out of it, we don't care anymore. But yeah, I mean, I think Will Hardy has proven he can coach. I would like to see what does it look like when he's not handicapped or handcuffed with a roster that is, all right, you can't play guys. Like let's just let them play it out.
Right, exactly. They're a team that's actually pushing to win. I mean, their efforts were successful this year. They have the the worst record in the NBA. We don't know if they'll have the number one pick.
Sure.
They have, yeah, we'll see with the flattened lottery odds. But if teams jump up, they're the team that is most protected from that. In fact, I don't recall if we did it on Friday's live show or not.
Let's do another one.
Let's spin the wheel here. Let's see if
we'll have a week left. Let's try to do one each show until
we should.
Get Monday.
All right, this one. Whoa, the Raptors. Oh no, Philly.
Oh no, Utah.
Oh no, Utah drops 4 spots. Philly drops 2 spots and loses their pick to OKC. That's a disaster.
In the 4. This is actually, I'm glad you did this, because this is a good example of the reminder. The top 3 picks have the flattened odds, but it's the top 4 picks that the lottery determines. And that's exactly what happened, right? Washington and Charlotte stayed right where they were, but Toronto jumps to 1 and Portland pops into 6, and that's how you end up with Philly dropping to 7. So nightmare scenario for the Sixers. Oof, that's brutal.
Yeah.
For the Jazz, too. That's as far as you can go.
Yeah, that's as far as you can fall. So that is a worst case scenario for Philly. Worst case scenario for you. We were just praising Utah, and now we gave them the worst case scenario. Well, Hardy's here.
Like, maybe I should have waited. I didn't actually sign that yet, guys. Let Doctor sign it. Yeah. I didn't hit submit on that one. Let's wait.
Meanwhile, the Raptors move up 6 spots to win the Cooper Flag lottery, and Portland also moves up 6 spots. That was a big win
Toronto
for Portland
too. That's like that turns into a very interesting. Do you take Cooper Flag, or is that now the centerpiece for a major trade with somebody else? Like, do you cash in and go like make a run at Giannis or someone else? Like where would you go with that?
Yeah, that you would have to think the return would be massive, or have to be massive, if they were going to move that pick.
Yeah. I want to pause here. I wrote the Spurs offseason preview posted today. And a couple people were like, if the Spurs stuck at 8, I think they have 8-14, 8-13, 8-14 going in to the lottery. Yeah. And a couple people were like, if they stick there, like what do you think will happen? With them, could they package that and move up to 1? Absolutely not. That's nowhere near enough. Like it's just, that's not, I don't even know that would be enough in the NFL draft. It's definitely not enough in the NBA draft. And it's definitely not enough in a draft with a player like Cooper Flag.
Right. Last year's draft class, like even last year's draft class is probably not happening, but still, like at least last year's draft class, like it felt like the talent was more evenly distributed and all of that. This year, there's no chance. No way any team is giving up Cooper Flag for that.
8-14 might get you up to 5 or 6. Like that's just the reality of it.
And even let's say even if the Spurs got 2-14 probably doesn't get it.
Mm-mm. No, I wouldn't. I would.
So that's the thing, right? Yeah. So if Now,
if I was the Spurs,
that Atlanta pick, I don't recall. Is that protected to any degree?
Oh, yeah, nope.
So Spurs could, in theory, get 1 and 2.
Yeah.
If both picks moved up,
then Pop's like, actually, I would like to coach.
God, could you imagine if that happened? That would be the most insane lottery result you could possibly have.
People would lose their minds and be screaming that it's the most rigged thing they've ever seen. And, I might consider moving the family to San Antonio at that point. Like,
good Lord,
go all in with covering the Spurs day to day. Did you see Pop's presser today?
He said he's El Jefe.
Yeah, El Jefe. Yeah. And then on the back it said Senor Popovich. So I do like, and they've been very clear, like they fully intend that he's going to be very involved in the front office. And I think it's because it's been 20 plus years and 2+ decades of coaching. That's where he came from. He was in the front office a long time ago. He came out before the Tim Duncan draft because he was like, I built this mess of a roster. If I'm firing the coach, I should be the one to deal with it day to day.
Yep.
And then coach the rest of that year, and then went on to get the lottery luck and get Duncan, and 20 years later, where 5 titles they won, I think. So
yeah. All right, let's go here. Let's go to Fred VanVleet. Hopes to stay in Houston. And right now, just so I pull up his contract situation, I believe he's on the books next year for $44 million, but it is a team option.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is.
Team option. Here's the key with that team option. It's due on the 9th. It's due at the end of the week.
Oh,
he had
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's a very interesting clause. Yeah, in his contract that his option is due to be picked up 5 days following the end of the Rockets' final game. So final game was on the 4th. So that's the 9th that they have to make a decision on that. It can be pushed back. It would have to be mutual agreement. Both VanVleet and the Rockets would have to agree. It can't be pushed back any further than June 29th. That's the latest date for any kind of option decision. But yeah, it's coming right up here. It's the first one. The next ones aren't until like the middle of June, middle to end of June for everybody else. So the reason why a lot of people asked today on social media when I put that out there, like, why is it so early? This is extremely early, yes, but this is also when it's a team option. The player will push for clarity as soon as they can get it. Yeah. And it's similar to a guarantee date on a big non-guaranteed contract. So if I'm like on a $15 million contract, but it's only $1 million guaranteed, I want that guarantee date to be as early as possible because I want you to make a decision because I want clarity. I want to know, am I going to be a free agent? Am I not?
Yeah. You don't want to find out after the money's all dried up or something like that. Or, you haven't had time to go and really network and figure out where you're going to go.
Yep. Now, what happens with this? I think there's kind of a few paths, right, that this can go. I think let me rephrase, let me say it better. If the Rockets pick up VanVleet's option for $44.9 million next year, I wouldn't say that locks him into being on the team next season because that's a really nice trade chip to put out there. $45 million in expiring salary. Yeah, I think we can all agree Fred VanVleet is not a $45 million player. That's a max deal on the deal he's on. But that ship has sailed. You'd be using that plus draft picks, plus young players, and it's expiring salary. So if I'm a team that's rebuilding and trading away a star, great. Give me cap relief in the future rather than taking on a Jalen Green's contract that maybe I don't want that carries into the next year. If they decline it, it doesn't mean Fred VanVleet's gone. They could work out a deal where they're like, oh, you're going to make $45 million. Let's give you $60 million over the next 3 seasons. And then that's how you kind of keep him in the fold you basically cut his number in half or more. And that, gets him a little bit more guaranteed money. But you could even do it where we're going to give you $60 million over the next 3 years, but only $45 million of it's guaranteed. So he still gets the same money. It's just you spread it out over a few years. Right. Or maybe Fred VanVleet says, you know what, let me see what's out there. There's not a lot of good free agents. Maybe somebody needs a point guard challenge. What that is, I don't know that the Brooklyn Nets are like, hey, 30-plus point guard, 30-plus year old point guard. Let's go. Let's, sign him right up with this. So, yeah, that's a challenge.
All right, let's go here. The Bucks are unlikely to move Giannis without a trade request from him. Not a surprise. I think it was Brian Windhorst who brought up the financial aspect of it, that, he means so much in terms of revenue to Milwaukee that unless he goes, if he wants to cut it out and stay with Milwaukee, even if it doesn't look like they can contend, they're not going to tell him no. They're not going to pivot into a rebuild. If, however, he goes to them and says, I want out, that's where that changes things. So maybe this isn't a surprise, but just, I think, an important note in this whole process, because ultimately, Keith, I don't know if it's this summer. I think it very well might be. But I think at some point, Giannis is going to say, I decided I want to win a championship, and he's going to need to leave Milwaukee to do that.
Yeah, I don't think, and I've probably already said this, so I apologize for the repeat. I don't think this gets to a point where it gets ugly between Giannis and the Bucks. I think this is very much we did everything we could together. Now we're going to try to do right by him by getting him somewhere where he wants to be, while also returning ourselves a great return and setting ourselves up for the future, however they phrase it, because nobody wants this to end badly. between the parties. This is not going to be Jimmy Butler in the Heat or Anthony Davis in the Pelicans. Like, nobody wants that. Not that anybody wanted those either to go that way, but no, like, nobody really wants to see this get to be Giannis and the Bucks are taking shots at each other and, you know, all those things. And if you're Giannis, like, you can't really complain, right? They went and got Drew Holiday, you won a title. Then it was, all right, we need to do more. They went and got Damian Lillard. It didn't work out, but they certainly tried. I mean, they tried really, really hard. This was not, just wait it out. We're just going to develop draft picks around you, which we've seen go really wrong for guys. So, you know, and if you're the Bucks side, it's like, you got to understand if he even is like, yeah, I want to compete for titles, it's going to be really hard for you to pull that off. So I get why this will go the way it goes. And this might be one where the two are just kind of, you know, I equate it to, it's like when you're back in high school and you know your two friends are going to break up before going off to college, but neither one of them wants to be the one to do it. So it's like, it just ruins the entire summer. Like, let's hope that's not what happens in Milwaukee.
That sounds very specific. Like that happened to you or something.
No, it did not to me, but with a good friend of mine.
Right. I mean, you were in that where you watched friends that were,
My college or my high school girlfriend cut me loose way before the end of high school. Like, she was like, "No, I'm done with you. Go away."
Oh, like, no.
It was fine. I didn't really care at that point.
She wanted her freedom for senior year, like past times.
Yeah. Funny thing was, we did still end up going to the prom together, which was, you know, a whole other story. But, you know, the other funny anecdote to that story, the couple that went through all that, they're married now. Like, they got together like years after college, like 5 or 6 years after college. Like, they re-met up and got back together. So
you never know. You never know.
Yeah. There it is, man. Never give up on love.
I guess that's the positive message to end our show.
The front office show.
That's right.
Never give up on love and don't let your Ring camera overheat and burn your house down.
That's right. I can't. This isn't even a Ring. It's like my legit like pro camera here. But it's been on. It's just been on for so long today that I think it just finally overheated and said, "That's it.
The hardest working guy."
Exactly.
The hardest working guy. Well, shut that thing off. Go relax for a little bit, and then get ready to get dialed in to the playoffs.
Margaritas, but then
all right, margaritas first.
I haven't told you this. I'm on like this super strict diet right now. And it's kicking my butt, but it's been awesome. I've already dropped a ton of weight, right?
And
yeah.
Well, why would you not tell me this? Send these details over.
Well, yeah, I should have told you, but
you can't keep the weight loss.
But anyway, so I've been doing all this, and this is gonna be my first like, okay, I'm actually gonna give myself a break from it here and eat something normal and all that, like and relax a little bit, and then tomorrow I'll get right back on it, of course, you know. Yeah. So I'm like extra excited for Cinco de Mayo.
There you go, boy. A little chips and sauce, a little margaritas,
exactly, tacos, some guac. Let's go
get after it. There you go. All right. Well, I'll be the one just locked in on Celtics, Knicks, and then Thunder Nuggets. So if you need a recap tomorrow because you don't remember what happened, just let me know.
I have to do an ESPN LA spot later tonight, so I'm like, okay, man. I can't have too much.
Might be your last one. If you guys don't hear from Trevor for a while, it means he misstepped on ESPN.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly it. All right, everybody, thank you for joining the show. Make sure you do subscribe right here to the channel. Till next time, see you and stay safe.